Hello, 18. Welcome to What Nobody Understands About Pablo and Ken. I'm going to be starting the series for all of the members, and I'm starting with Pablo and Ken in today's reaction. How are we all feeling? Are we all excited about the comeback? I am very excited. The song is already out. I haven't heard it. I'm waiting for the MV, but as you guys know, I can't react until tomorrow. But it's 11 o'clock right now. So the MV will be released in around 4 hours from the time that I'm filming this. Oh, I'm so excited. Let me know your thoughts without spoiling anything. So if you watch this and you've already listened to the MV, or if you're watching this later on down the track, tell me your thoughts. How do you feel about it? All right, let's begin. What nobody understands about Pablo.
It's okay to make mistakes, but don't.
But don't.
Sino ang pinakamatagal mag-ayos?
Ay!
Let's go!
Hindi ko po hindi yung ako. I did unspeakable things talaga.
Everybody would love a taste of Pablo's life, having his own family business and the utmost respect from his co-members and fans. Pablo's life seems perfect, yet the truth is completely different. Not too long ago, he has been put in the shadows even though his role with SB19 is supposed to be significant. There were moments that his work wasn't even acknowledged. He is also seen as a member who is the strongest personality, which most people don't understand. But I'm telling you, Pablo's story is a revelation because it proves otherwise, and you're about to hear it. So sit back and enjoy because it's going to be a heck of a ride. John Paulo Nace was born and raised in Imus, Cavite. He's the second-born child along with 2 sisters and 2 brothers. Their mom took care of them while their dad provided for them financially from overseas.
Oh, really?
Pablo grew up as a shy kid who tends to space out, and because of that, he sometimes wandered off of their pack when they were outside. There was a time when their family was in the mall and he suddenly went missing. They panicked for a little bit, only to find him urinating on a plant in the corner. There was also another time when he fell into the canal. Pablo's childhood was never boring because he was surrounded by a loving family. As a teenager, Pablo was very active in sports. In fact, he made it to his high school's varsity basketball team playing the point guard position. Behind the scenes, his passion for music got ignited when he found the hip-hop artists like Eminem, Glock 9, G-Dragon, Looney, and NF. This is when he started writing songs in secret as an outlet for his emotions. He kept the dream of performing to himself because of his shy attitude. Most families in the Philippines believe that going overseas will set you up for life, and Pablo's family wasn't a stranger to that. He initially took up accountancy in college because the job was in demand abroad, but he immediately regretted it and felt that the course wasn't for him. He loved writing songs and wanted to get better at it, so he decided to shift his course to a Bachelor of Arts in English. This is when he started learning about poetry and different types of literature, which definitely played a big role in the future. In his senior year, his younger siblings started going to college as well, and their family's income was no longer enough. His younger
Wait, who's this? Wait, I forgot all about this brother. Wait, what am I at? I'm at 3 minutes and 4 seconds. Who's this other brother? I only know Josue. Wait, I fully did not realize. Pablo siblings. I feel like I've said this before as well, but I don't remember the outcome. Don't be surprised, please. I forget things all the time. Pablo, how many siblings does he have? 2 sisters and 2 brothers. What's his brother's other name? What's his other brother's name, sorry? I know both of his sisters in Josue. What? Pablo SB19 brothers' names. What are their names? What are their names? So there must be his older brother that I don't know. Because Josue is younger, right? Wait, what? How do I forgot this? How have I forgotten this?
Introducing Pablo's musically inclined fam.
No, okay, you guys can tell me. I do vaguely remember potentially being shocked again. Like I feel like I've said this in a reaction, but I don't think I then looked into it after that. Who is his older brother? What's his name?
In his senior year, his younger siblings started going to college as well, and their family's income was no longer enough to keep them all in school. So he started working as a call center agent at night while studying in the morning. He worked a full 9-hour shift and also full-time in school. Honestly,
Wow.
I couldn't imagine how he survived all that, but he did. He got his bachelor's degree in English, and according to some sources, if only he wasn't a shifter, he would have graduated cum laude. He's a smart dude for sure, and also a responsible one. He was so responsible that after graduating, he immediately went to work as a data analyst for a real estate company to help provide for his family. It was a stressful job, but he was able to cope by watching his favorite K-dramas. From then on, everything was smooth sailing, until the big what if started bothering him. Deep inside, he had this unfinished business of making music. So one day, he decided to follow his passion while keeping his full-time job. He started joining rap battles and competitions as a soloist. He initially wanted to use Seismic as a screen name, which has a double entendre for seismic. But he never managed to share it because he is a shy dude, so he always ended up telling his real name instead. To this day, that screen name remained to be in Pablo's username on his social media accounts. If you want to know more about the meaning of it,
Is that what
so he
it
always
means?
ended up telling his
Oh
real
my
name
gosh.
instead. To this day, that screen name remained to be in Pablo's username on his social media accounts. If you want to know more about the meaning of it, check out the video I made about it. Link in the description.
I'll have
You
to
can
watch
also
that.
join the highest tier membership if you want to support me and also be credited as one of the executive producers. Going back, Pablo kept competing despite not winning until one fateful night when Miss Hongganda of Show BT found him in a contest. She offered to train him as a solo artist but ended up becoming the leader of the boy group that would end up rewriting Filipino music history. They underwent a Korean training style that is notorious for pushing trainees to their absolute limits. Pablo reached a point that it became too difficult for him that he had to choose between his job and the training. Realizing that he was only half step in, he decided to go all in by quitting his job. He told his mom about it, and as expected, his decision was questioned. But she didn't stop him from chasing his dreams. With his job gone comes no income. Life became so hard for Pablo that he had to skip meals and sleep in their camp just to extend his remaining money for commuting back home every few days because his home was miles away. In order to survive, he performed in different Korean events with his group called PHP, which was also composed of other ShowBT trainees. This went on for 3 years. Fast forward to 2018, SB19 was formed and they debuted with a song called Tila Luha, which was written
what
by
a
none
song.
other than Pablo. This was a song that was supposed to capture the hearts of the Filipino people, but sadly, barely anyone cared about it. The same thing happened to their second single, Go Up. This was supposed to be the time when he could tell his parents that he has finally made it, but instead, it became the reason why he started to question himself. This was a major blow to his confidence, so he shut himself off from the public and did some quote-unquote unspeakable things. If it wasn't for George and Pablo's faith in God, he wouldn't be here today. This was also around the time when he wrote the song La Luna, which exactly described the situation he was in. It's so wild knowing that his recent song actually came from several years back, and there's no telling how many he's already done because he describes himself as someone who always writes music. When the Go Up dance practice video was uploaded,
Like, the fact that
who
Lyra
always writes music. When the Go
is the reason she isn't the reason for their success, but she's the reason that they got so many eyes on them at the beginning. Imagine, like, if she didn't post this. I wonder, I mean, it's not, oh my God, that was around the time Butter was around? Wow. What was I going to say? Like, I wonder how they would have become, what their journey would have been, because they're so talented. They would have found a way. However, there is a lot of luck in getting some eyes on you, because there's a lot of talented groups out there that they're just not going to be big ever. Like, sometimes it's not just talent, you know?
Go Up dance practice video was uploaded, their popularity snowballed. A follow-up song was released called Alab, which was also written by him, but the fans noticed that something was wrong. Pablo's name was nowhere to be found in the credits, and when the movie Game Boys was released, SB19's Hanggang sa Huli was the original soundtrack, and it happened again. Twitter fans went ballistic, and there was even a movement that encouraged everyone to mass email ShowBT just to give him the credit he deserved.
Yes.
Thankfully, it was heard. If it wasn't for 18, maybe Pablo wouldn't have gotten the music royalties he has now. So what exactly is it that people don't understand about Pablo? Most people would say it's his sassy attitude, but I beg to disagree. We learned in his story that he's arguably the most introverted person in this group, and
So
Stel perfectly
interesting.
described it in this clip.
Nung una, ang weird niya po, nagsasalita mag-isa, parang bigla na lang siya nagagano. Sa isang tabi po, nakatayo siya sa gilid. Tapos may training kami, tapos biglang gagano. Tapos biglang gagano siya. Gagano po siya sa gilid. Sabi ko, anong ginagawa na? Nagre-ritual ba ito sa gilid?
Some fans and even him also think that he's the worst dancer among them, but his co-members think otherwise.
I'm really bad at memorizing steps. Yeah, I'm really bad. So I
You're a
take
good
extra
dancer.
time.
But you're a good
practicing.
dancer.
Really?
Yeah.
He doesn't
I
even
love
tell
that.
us that he
Really?
can backflip.
Yeah, what the hell?
He's also a gamer. He even used his favorite video game character as an inspiration for one of his songs. Talk about a game changer. Most people think he's a poet, but he describes himself more as a bard who tells his stories through his music. Music that transcends generations and is backed up by recognition.
The winner of this season of the Juki Music Awards is Pablo. Congratulations.
The winner of the Composer of the Year award goes to John Paulo Nasser. Congratulations.
He can sing, he can
So
rap,
deserved.
he can shoot, he can pop, he can play, he can snap, he can flip, and he can't stop. Pablo's mind is a race, and he's always 5 steps ahead of us. He does what he does because he strives for perfection, which brings us to the most misunderstood thing about him, his reputation as a genius. Sometimes it makes me wonder, why does Pablo keep on asking this question?
Why us? Why are we here right now?
The answer for me is the lesson I learned from his story. I learned that the person performs better when there's no safety net. He had no plan B. Pablo gave up everything and decided to go all in by focusing on getting better at his craft. He believed that failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So he made the world his library to become the best version of himself and became the guy who worked while others slept, the guy who learned while others partied, the guy who led while others followed, the guy who lived like others only dreamed of. A leader has the capacity to translate vision into reality. And that's the answer to Pablo's why.
So very true. That was really such a great little thing about Pablo. And obviously this is 2 years ago, so there's so much more that's happened. I'd love some updated ones, but Pablo is one of the most interesting characters to me. Like, the way his brain works, the way he can write lyrics, like, he's such a poet. He's so incredibly talented, and kind of like looking back at this and realizing what he went through with Show BT and like the credits and all of that, knowing now that they have their own company, just makes me so happy relieved and just beyond proud of them, you know? They've really come so far. Like, I love that this was all made still when they hadn't even, like, got their own company. Like, it's kind of a good reflection to look back. All right, let's go, Ken.
Sino ang pinaka-spoiled sa grupo?
Sino ang makakalimutan? Hindi mong patapos na, nagkamali pa siya. Bakit madami Ken? Bakit si Ken? Bakit si Ken?
Please stop it.
Please stop it.
Ken is, in my opinion, the most successful idol in Kpop history. Most fans see him as someone who's living the life most of us can only dream of. But in reality, there's a lot more going on behind all the glitz and glamour. So in today's video, we will reveal the challenges he had to go through just to get where he is today. From being a scrawny kid who only ate instant noodles on his birthdays to becoming the CEO of his own company. I know, Ken's story is like a definition of rags to riches. And the haters are not having it. He quickly became one of the most polarizing figures in the Kpop industry. But before we talk about all that, let's talk about his humble beginnings because it's straight up inspiring.
I just know
It all
Ken's
started in
parents are so proud of
Pagadian,
him.
Zamboanga del Sur. This is the countryside where Felipe John Suson was raised. His mom wanted to name him Kenji, but his grandpa Felipe
Kenji.
insisted to name him Philip. He was the youngest member of a family that barely had anything financially. They were very poor that instead of a cake on his birthday, all he gets is a plate of instant noodles. Life was so hard that having fried chicken was heaven for him, so it quickly became his all-time favorite. Because of this, both of his parents had to go overseas to find better paying jobs to support the education of Ken and his older sister. He had to be taken under the care of his grandparents. He then grew up in a church and his grandpa was the pastor. He was just a scrawny kid who likes mathematics and discovered drawing as his first talent. So he went on to become an editorial cartoonist in school. Family gatherings in the Philippines always require a karaoke machine.
I remember the first time I was in the Philippines. I'm pretty sure I've said this story before, but I was at the beach and saw this. I don't know if it was, I think it was TVs like this, and everyone had their like cabana-y things set up, and then the TV, and everyone was singing karaoke, and I found it so funny. I was like, what is happening?
And Ken's extended family wasn't a stranger to that. He used to hide during these occasions because he was always asked to sing. I was told by some sources that Ken had a very good singing voice as a kid but lost his confidence when puberty hit because it gave him an ultra deep voice which turned out to become one of his greatest assets in the future because of the dude named Pablo.
I never thought na may mga tao talaga makapag-appreciate ng voice ko. Kasi hindi ako ganoon ka confident sa voice ko kasi yung range ko mababa lang tapos malalim yung boses ko. Ngayon, parang naging na-appreciate ko na yung boses ko dahil may mga tao na ka-appreciate na. Nice.
Anyway, his newfound
Just
love for
clapping.
music got him to learn his first musical instrument without anyone teaching him. So he ended up becoming a southpaw guitarist but later fixed it as he learned more. He was also active in sports representing his school in regional tournaments. He played some table tennis and sepak takraw as a spiker.
Wow.
For those who don't know, this position requires exceptional skills to perform explosive jumps to block and spike the ball.
That
The
seems
teacher
so
saw this as a
unnecessary.
potential that can translate
Like, why are you flipping backwards? Just use your head.
into good dancing, so he was offered to join the dance club for better grades. He was hesitant at first, but when he tried, you all know what happened next. Watching his early clips feels like he was born to dance. He was even hired by his school to choreograph some dance routines. He then moved to Cagayan de Oro to study architecture in college. He became a member of the dance crews called Excite, GA7, and Amigo 7. These last two crews were so good. In fact, Ken had a crewmate named Joshua who went on to become a member of a successful international idol group in the future called Z-Boys. They were beating everybody in the countryside, so there was no point in competing there anymore. It was time for the big leagues. They got invited to join major K-pop dance competitions, and this was the first time when Ken met other SB19 would-be members. Not as brothers, but as enemies.
But it's crazy to me that they even crossed paths. Like the Philippines, like being so far away from each other where they live, it's just wild to me that they would have crossed paths before becoming a group.
In one particular contest, Josh and Stel's crew defeated Ken's because they already had a GOAT status in the industry at the time. Ken accepted defeat gracefully and even asked to be trained by Josh, which actually surprised him because he thought Ken was a show-off.
Kinausap niya po ako eh. Sabi niya sa akin, Idol Josh. Ganun po tawag niya sa akin yun, Idol Josh. Pasali naman ako sa ano nyo. Pa-training naman ako sa grupo nyo. Kahit sa gilid lang ako.
But because of their distance, the training together never happened. Ken then went home to continue his studies. Fast forward to 2017, he received a message.
I guess now that I think about it, like in my sport, I know people from all over Australia when competing in national titles. So maybe like in these dance competitions, people are coming from all over the country. So I guess it kind of makes sense.
From Josh. It was an invite to audition for the 5th member spot of SB19. But there's one problem. Ken had no money, so Josh was like, no problem, I'll take care of it. Ken then told his grandma about stopping school to pursue it, and she was very hesitant because she thought it was a scam, and his parents overseas would have automatically said no. But Ken was so close to his grandma that he managed to convince her to go in secret. So our country boy took off to pursue his dreams. He had nothing with him except his phone, his clothes, and a 1,500 peso pocket money. This time when he arrived at the airport, there was no crew. It was all him. So imagine how that must have felt. Anyway, he took a taxi to SBT talent camp, and of course, the driver scammed him. He had to pay 600 pesos for a supposedly 150 peso trip. What a ripoff. Anyway, he finally met Josh and the boys and started training with them for a year while crashing into a distant relative's house to rest up. He slept on the floor, not with a comforter, but a banig. Because if he didn't, he would be homeless. Ken had no salary when he was still training, so he moonlighted as a small-time model to survive, which is an experience that would play a big role in his future. The dude was literally fighting for his dreams every single day. So here comes 2018 when they finally debuted, and though it was a rocky start, they gradually progressed to become the greatest P-pop group God has ever created. If you want to know more about their story as a group, check out the SB19 story series I made, linked down in the description. You can also join the highest tier of our channel's membership if you're interested to be credited as one of the executive producers. So how did Ken become the most polarizing P-pop idol? Like, how is he either obsessively loved by fans or obsessively hated by bashers? Well, he has this persona of a badass dude who doesn't give a shit. And if you combine that with one of the many accusations thrown at him, then they got themselves a new P-pop villain in the making. But there's one thing in common between all those issues. They lack evidence.
I remember when I first heard Bulan, and it definitely reminded me of Lay Lit, but it wasn't... I think I remember in my reaction, I was like, oh my god, this just reminds me a bit of Lay Lit, but it wasn't like, this reminds me too much of it. It was just like similar vibes. How many songs have similar vibes out there? So many. Like, so many. And when I heard that people were up in arms about it, I'm like, for God's sakes. There's so many similar songs out there, you know? And they both have their own charms, this and Lay Lit.
Few exceptions though, but you can't say a person is arrogant just because he looks cool and badass. The dude is even a softie. He tends to cry in interviews and emotional moments. His awkwardness as a kid is still there, and this TikTok clip says it all.
Me and you and me, just us and your friend Steve. Do 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 Steve. Do 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 Steve. Do 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 Steve. 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 Do 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 Steve.
Also, you can't just call a person lazy just because you've seen a few clips of him sleeping. I mean, isn't it a result of him working too hard? Being an idol and running your own clothing company at the same time is no joke.
Yeah.
The dude only used to draw this aspiration, but now he made it happen. He managed to build a company that sold out merch in just minutes. It's insane. It's even rumored that his company is now worth more than $1 million. Whether it's true or not, it put an even...
I don't know about that because he doesn't sell that much. So he, like, his stock is pretty limited and he only has stuff every now and then. So, I mean, I freaking hope so, but I don't know about that.
Bigger target on his back. And haters started coming up with even more ridiculous claims. Like accusing him of copying 2 K-pop music videos just because they have a similar vibe. This was easily debunked though. If you want to check it out, I made a video about it, link down in the description. His main dancer position got also heavily criticized because of one single clip of him messing up on live TV. It wasn't fair in my opinion because Ken has always been consistent in his dance performances, yet the haters suddenly forgot about how good he really is. Ken never fired back. Or did he? So why does the poultry still exist and are still growing in numbers after all the bashing? Well, it's because he doesn't only have the alluring personality, but he also has the capability to back it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Scratch that. Capabilities. What's crazy about Ken is that he has already shown us enough talent like his exceptional dancing and singing that is enough to fulfill a main vocal role.
Saan darating mga salita na nanggagaling sa aming dalawa? Kung lumisan ka, huwag naman sana ika'y bumabit na, hindi magkawala. Aking sinta, ikaw lang dahanan ay mundo.
Good job.
Yet he still has a lot of secrets.
I love that big
I'm telling
smile
you, man,
watching
this
him.
guy is a living anime character.
Yeah, he is.
Have you heard of an idol who is also a CEO?
I
A
have
dancer
now.
who is known
Ken,
for his
Pablo.
aerial flips but never tells us that he can also breakdance. A singer who writes and co-produces his own songs. A musician that plays guitar, keyboard, drums, and can even beatbox. A fashion influencer. A man who plays sports like basketball, billiards,
Yeah, he's such an
volleyball,
all-rounder.
badminton, table tennis, boxing, and sepak takraw with decent proficiency. A skater boy, an artist, a philanthropist, and most especially sports like basketball,
wasn't him, was it, in the
billiards,
video?
volleyball, badminton, table tennis, boxing, and sepak takraw with decent proficiency. A skater boy,
Wasn't sure because they kept showing photos
an artist,
clips of him.
a philanthropist, and most especially, a man of faith. I initially thought that the Superior Sound brand was all about him, but I was quickly proven wrong when I found this Bible verse underneath his Bulan CD, Hebrews 1:5-14. The entire passage is lengthy, but it all boils down to Christ being the superior of all beings. I mean, all of us have different religions, some don't even have one. But I just respect people like him who stand firm behind their beliefs.
So he's like the
As of
son of the superior?
Today, Ken has established himself as an arguably the most successful P-pop idol and the richest among his co-members.
And I love
As an arguably the most successful P-pop idol.
like how smart he is to do the dot here before that for Susan.
And the richest among his co-members. And it's just the beginning. They're still on their way to introducing Filipino music to the world through the US as of the making of this video. And his group SB19 is the first one to ever do it. So what have we learned about Ken's story? For me, it was his persistence and willingness to take risks. Have you ever noticed that sometimes it's your loved ones that said no to your aspirations? Because, they care about you. They don't want you to fail and all that. Do you know how many people have had visions, ideas, and huge career moves that they were about to do, but they allowed the word no to stop them? For all I know, you might be one of those people. The difference with Ken is that he never gave the power to the word no. It was his own grandma who tried to stop him, but he continued. Yes, haters exist, but he didn't reject his own ideas just because they rejected his ideas. Haters hate because they feel small when your ideas start turning into reality. He once said in an interview that success is the best revenge, so he stopped killing them with kindness. To this day, Ken has been torturing them with success.
Yeah, he's such a one of a kind, isn't he? Honestly. I think it's very easy to hate on people that are successful, but also to hate on people who have personalities like his, where he isn't about pleasing others, he's just about being himself. And I think I spoke about this in last week's reaction or on YouTube, wherever I did it, or the week before. Like, I'm the complete opposite in that I care too much about what people think of me, and it's something that, like, I need to do less of. So if I was an idol, or like just, you know, being interviewed, like, I would be almost sometimes being fake without wanting to be fake, of like trying to be really happy and positive, even if I wasn't feeling that good. But Ken's just real. He's like, if I'm not feeling good, I'm not feeling good. If I'm happy, I'm happy. If I'm not, I'm not. It just, you get what you get. And I would be like, you get the same version of me, and then behind closed doors is another story. Like, I don't know, it's not a good thing. So I can really respect him because I can't be like that. But with that comes a lot of hate, and with success comes a lot of hate. When people have money, you're going to get hate, and it all comes down to jealousy. So, you know, he's such an amazing person. So is Pablo. They're both incredible. And yeah, I loved this. So I can't wait. I'll come back next week with the other 3 members. And yeah, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I hope you enjoy the comeback. Bye.